Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Blissed? Dr. Shealy, are you blissed?
Yes.
Me too. Hey, Dr. Shealy, I'd like to share with you some, I just posted this on Facebook. And I only use Facebook not to say, look at me, I'm eating a hot dog, or look at me, I'm on the beach, or look at me, I'm with this famous person. I don't do that. I just use Facebook to say, here's what we're going to talk about today. That's it, on the air. And so here's what I posted. Dr. Norman Shealy, MD, vitamin D, the first line of defense, black dust in the cities, dementia, fatty foods attack children's brains, the risk of transfusions, barber shop shave risks, meaning if you go to a barber shop the way the guys used to and get shaved there, get cut there by the razor, are there risks. And daylight saving time altering our biological clocks. And I think also technology in cars killing more and more of us. So those are a few of the things that I'd like to chat with you about. Is that okay with you?
You're getting verbose. No. That's fine.
Okay. And by the way, do you have an event tonight?
Yes, we do. We're going to talk about intention. How your intention really determines everything.
That's fascinating. So roughly an hour of presentation and questions and answers?
You've got it.
The Doubletree Hotel in Springfield, Missouri, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. plus, a little bit more than that.
You got it.
Time for your questions, class. Doubletree Hotel, Springfield, Missouri. Absolutely free. And I've been at that location. Dr. Shealy, I tried to make it to last week's event. I was unable to. I had an appointment. I could not make it work, but I really wanted to be there. It's because you were talking about the heart and one of the big killers, right?
Well, it is still number one cause of death.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Do you want to share anything that with us now that you mentioned in that seminar last Wednesday at the Doubletree?
I mean, to at least conservatively, 75% of people who die of heart attack do so because of poor health habits. That's being very conservative. In other words, the number one cause of premature death is obesity. That has long since surpassed smoking as the number two cause. Now, interestingly, according to the AMA, the number three cause of premature death, which is still heart attack is the most common cause, is the medical system itself. And so it goes. But your health habits determine whether or not you're going to die prematurely. Now, interestingly, Vince, for your information, last weekend I attended my 60th med school reunion. Now,
wow.
Of the 78 physicians who graduated together, only 32 are still alive, and only 8 other than me, so 9 of the total 32 alive came to the reunion. Can't say all the others were too ill to come, but we know that some of them were. So there's still, I mean, my average classmate is 85 or 86. because I was the youngest person in the class. And so they're 2 to 3 years older than I am, but still. They're outliving the average American, which is 79, but not by much.
Dr. Shealy, when you went to this reunion, were there any surprises that you saw, that you learned, that you heard about? Did you learn of any of your classmates doing things that you thought were really, really fascinating that you'd like to share with us?
No. Other than me, I think only one other of the 9 of us there still practice. And, to me, doing something active, maybe it doesn't have to be full-time clinical practice, but doing something active is far more important than, quote, retiring. Mm-hmm. To me, retirement is one of the most stupid things ever created. It's almost as bad as watching the news.
There's a broadcaster who used to call me, and call me anymore, and that's fine with me. He would say to me, "Vincent, you're too old to farm. you need to sell that farm and get something easier for you to maintain because you're just way too old to farm." And I'm thinking, I worked really hard to get to this point. I worked all my life, to get to the point where I could have this kind of a lifestyle, where I could be with the animals and I could be pulling fence tighter and cutting limbs off the fence and working on the equipment. To me, it's really not work. To me, I'm on vacation. I mean, now some parts of the vacation.
I totally agree with you. For many, many years, my wife and I would be sitting out having breakfast and say, we don't need a vacation. We live in a vacation place.
That's exactly right. I don't have to go away to away to get away. I'm already away, and I and I really like it. I really like it. There's so many positive features about being a farmer and living the farming lifestyle. Now it's not one of riches, but you can certainly live. I believe more healthy. I believe you can be more happy. I believe you can have less stress. And any stress that you have is mostly created by yourself. So, for example, if I have stress, it's because I'm trying to figure out what I need to do with the cows in a manipulated cattle market. I need to figure that out. I need to figure out what I'm going to do about the weather and how I'm going to let nature and the manipulated weather work to our advantage. I mean, those are challenges, and there might be some stress in there. And then, of course, there's the radio show, which has some stress in it because I'm not in control when I'm on the air. I'm not in control of my life. The clock tells me where I'm going to be and when. Now, of course, I could run reruns, and now until they shut the reruns off, or I can have guest hosts fill in. But I guess the radio show would probably be the most stressful component, only because I'm not in control of my own time. Is that true for you, Dr. Shealy, when you're on the air, or are there other times that are more stressful for you?
Oh, I would say the single most stressful thing for me is a patient who comes in on 6 different drugs, any one of which be causing her symptoms, and tells me she will not, under any circumstance, consider going off her drugs. I mean, Why would somebody come to me if they're happy with their drugs? And I find that kind of attitude rather interesting and somewhat stressful because I don't know what to tell her. Why did you walk in the door?
Well, I'm trying to put myself in your place. What would I say? I might say something like, "Wow, I'm here to help you, and I'm at a loss. Well, let's switch seats. How about you sit in my seat?" What would you say?
Well, and I offered her 2 possibilities despite the drugs, and she wishes to think about them. And in both my suggestions, at least they're 100% safe. And there's not one blank drug she's taking which is safe.
You know, it reminds me of the meetup every 6 months or so, for 5 years, I would say, to the meetup group. Have we made any progress? Have any of you, are any of you more prepared than you were, you know, last 6 months ago when I asked the same question? Are you more prepared to be independent of the system? Are we making any progress? Should we continue? You know, those kinds of things I would weave into the conversation, because I wasn't convinced that everyone who was attending was really taking it as seriously as I thought they should. The call to action, I don't think, was answered the way I thought it should be. However, I mean, we did make some progress, some more than others. But I hear your frustration, and I think
you should write a book, Vincent Revere.
Well, you know, it's okay. Since you mentioned that, I've been doing some Hillary Clinton maneuvers, riding around on the tractor, spreading manure, literally.
Oh, actually, you're doing a hell of a lot better job and good for the world than she would.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking I'm making a positive contribution by spreading this manure compared to the contribution she's making by spreading her manure. But seriously, I've been spreading manure, going around in circles, and it's, you know, all I hear is the drone of the engine. And I've been thinking about writing a book. I really have, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And I was thinking about, you know, what this book, I think, would be I don't know what you'd even call it, a compendium of things that I've learned, all kinds of things, like how to deal with the tax system, how to deal with audits, how to work on automobiles, tricks of the trade, things that, you know, how to do things without all the tools that you need in order to service vehicles, how to change your oil, how to purchase, how to negotiate, even how to accept challenges in your life, to do things you've never done before or have rarely done before. And I was thinking about how to write that book, but I don't know how to write that book. So I was thinking about getting some, or using this software called Dragon, Naturally Speaking, and just talking to a microphone and just start dictating this book, and then build it, and maybe over a year or a year and a half or 2 years I'd have it done. So when we come back, Dr. Shealy, will you give me some advice, if you choose to, about how I should write a book? We'll be right back. Dr. Norman Shealy's with us, and we're going to talk about that book in just a couple minutes. We have Renata on the phone from New Brunswick, Canada. Welcome, Renata.
Hi, Vincent.
Hey.
How are
Dr.
you?
Shealy, very, very well. Renata, you and I were on the phone off the air, and I asked you to call in and today and chat with Dr. Norman Shealy, medical doctor, about some of the symptoms that you're having. Could you share with him what you told me?
I don't really remember, but I can talk about
Hello?
Yeah, we were talking about burner symptoms and many things we eat today, they are not really that healthy. And for example, if you read every label, you can find that tartrazine and all other colorings, they are almost in everything, and even in the vitamins. You see, when you have the vitamins, they are coated with color, and then they contain tartrazine. This is a coloring agent that is cancer-causing. So I was saying to you on the phone, it is building up in the body if you eat it every day, and it will have an effect on the health.
Well, you know, I honestly don't know the answer to what you're saying. I can tell you that I have been on supplements since before I was born, and I'll be 84 years old in a couple of weeks. My mother was a devotee to supplements, and I know that she was taking them before I was born, and I've never not been on them. So I can't believe that there's anything terribly significantly dangerous in them.
And Dr. Shealy, her concern is about the colors that
I know.
have been
Well,
added.
I obviously many of mine must have coloring agents in them because I never pay attention to it, but they do have colors.
Yeah.
Renata,
I'm sure they're really good supplements. They don't have color. The most expensive ones that you buy on a special shop, they won't have colors on them. But the normal, in the run-of-the-mill shops where we all go shopping, they have colors on them. And that's only one thing. All the food is being adulterated now, and it's very hard to find anything that is all through good for you, unless you go to a health food store.
Well, again, I don't go to any place special. I use a company called NOW if I can get it, because I trust them above all the other companies. But I have to say that for at least my 60-plus years that I personally have been involved with my own supplements, I've never worried about it, and I remain healthy despite taking normal supplements. And I take more than 99% of people.
You take more supplements than 9?
Well, I have a tackle box which holds half of what I take for a day, so I take about 120 pills a day.
Oh, that is a lot. Yeah.
Renata, would you share with Dr. Shealy, didn't you say you were having a dizzy spell or a few dizzy spells? Isn't that what you mentioned to me?
Yeah, sometimes I have dizzy spells, but I think it is caused by microwaves or maybe some electric. Yeah, mostly microwaves, I think.
Dr. Shealy, she was shopping and she felt very dizzy a couple of times. Is there a medical reason that you could help her with that she should?
Well, let me ask your age first.
I'm 67.
And are you on any prescription medications?
No, I weaned myself off blood pressure pills after 40 years.
And your blood pressure's okay now?
Well, it's a little bit high, but not that high.
Well, obviously, dizzy spells suggest that either your blood pressure is not normal or your heart's irregular or something is going on with blood flow to the brain. That is one possibility. Now, there are many, many other possibilities. Many stores have places where you can check your blood pressure in the store. If it happened to me, I'd want to check my blood pressure and pulse and see what's happening at that particular time.
Dr. Norman Shealy's with us, and we've been talking with Renata of New Brunswick, Canada. And Dr. Shealy, you were asking some questions about blood pressure and blood to the brain. Please continue.
I mean, does this ever happen when you're not in a store?
No, usually not, very rarely. Dr. Shealy, I know what is causing it. It is microwave, because many people are now sensitive to microwave radiation. Everybody has cell phones, everybody. We have these towers everywhere in the country, and all people are subjected to that. The microwaves for the cell phones have a frequency of 10 hertz. The human brain is working on 8.3 hertz. It is very, very close. It is in the same realm. So we are directly influenced with these waves. And I have a microwave meter. It's called EMF meter. It's called Acousticum 2. Very good. You can measure the microwaves and you can see the direction where they are coming from. I have helped them towards people with a cell phone, pointing cell phones at me, and I can see that I'm directly receiving them. This is going on everywhere. Hello?
Yes. Well, if it is from microwaves, I have no way of protecting you.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean, the only way I know to protect yourself from microwaves is to live underground.
Yes.
I mean, basically, they are everywhere.
Yeah. But these are the cause of my dizzy spell.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it could be anything. Really, nobody knows what is causing it, because it could be a brain tumor or, anything, right?
Yeah.
Or
Renata,
yeah.
when I travel, if I'm in my truck or in a car, and I see a police car behind me, I know that they have forward and rear-looking radar.
They
So
have
I will, so what I do is I don't get in front of them. If I'm in front of them, I'll move out of the way so that they pass me, and then I will try to stay way far behind them or alongside them.
Yeah.
And so that they are not targeting me with their forward or rear-facing radar. As far as the stores, I don't know of any way around it. And I've mentioned on the air that I really don't want to go out very much anymore. I really want to stay home, because if you go to a restaurant, you go to a supermarket, you go to Sam's Club, you go pretty much anywhere, there's wireless communications, there's wireless cameras, there's Wi-Fi, there's the cell towers everywhere. Then there's the radio transmission towers, the television transmission towers, the municipal transmission towers, and then add to that all the power lines that are going up and down the streets, and the high voltage power lines. Add all that together, and we're surrounded, and there's really not much escape. And then if you look out your window, if you live in a neighborhood, you'll see these power poles with these round can transformers, and they're typically within 125 cable feet of the house. So now you have these round transformers that are transmitting electromagnetic radiation right outside of people's windows, where they sleep 8 hours a day. It's terrible. Sometimes they're behind the houses, when the power lines are running along the backyards of houses in some neighborhoods. They don't have to look at the power lines, but they're still there. Most power lines are above ground, not below ground. In our farm, we buried our power lines from the road, which they're above ground, and as soon as they enter our property, they go underground for 1,300 feet. And that was a choice and expense that we endured and made. So the answer is, as Dr. Shealy said, it's very, very difficult to get away from microwaves. It really is.
Yes. And about the radar, Vincent, the radar, I have a Geiger counter. I bought it years ago. The Geiger counter goes up when I receive radar, but normal radar does not even show on the Geiger counter. And
I'm a little confused there.
Didn't know where it came from, and then I learned that the radar can be built up by several cars with radar driving by, and they can build it up to the point where it turns ionizing, and then the Geiger counter can pick it up.
And what I'd like to do is, class, if you have expertise in this field, would you please contact me at Vincent@usaprepares.com, and we'd like to talk with you about getting you on the air to talk about this particular topic. Renata, anything else you'd like to share?
No, I'm not right in the moment.
Okay.
Well,
thank you.
Build yourself a basement and live in it. I'm not being totally facetious.
Yeah.
She lives on a farm in the middle of almost nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Right, Renata?
Yeah, but right beside the road.
And the microwave tower within three-quarters of a mile.
Oh, so you have a cell tower within 3/4 of a mile?
Yes, and the funny thing is, it doesn't have lights on it, and it's not used for our Wi-Fi, although we are right here. We get our Wi-Fi from another tower, and it's really strange. It belongs to Bell Alliance because they have a sign there saying Bell Alliance, so it purpose, but it hasn't been there for long either.
No, for over 2
What you should do is correlate your health warning signs with when this happened and when maybe some other things happened, and try to figure out which are the contributing factors. Renata, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Dr. Shealy, we were talking about writing a book. Do you have any advice and counsel for me?
Well, I've only written 35.
That's why I'm asking you, because you're an expert.
And basically, I just sit down and write.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I sometimes do a little bit of an outline, but most of the time I just have an idea and I start writing. And I can write 10 pages or more at one time and may go back to it the next day or a week or two later. Mm-hmm. I know that some people are much more organized about it than I am, but I guess I just like to write and talk, so I just do it.
Well, that's why I was thinking about using this dictation software and just dictate as I find things.
That's a possibility. I actually have Dragon on my computer now.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to use.
It's pretty good. I mean, I have to go back and some of my words it doesn't get, but it's not bad. It's faster than typing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, and I was kind of stuck between just going without an outline and having an outline. More structured approach.
Well, I think it depends on the personality and how you think. I tend to sort of organize it in my mind, but every once in a while I'll write a little bit of an outline.
Very good. So I'm seriously thinking about that, and I actually may do it. But if I do it, I don't want to do a half-baked job. I want to do a pretty good job, or I don't want to do it at all. And that came from one of my first experiences as an employee when I worked for Sears Automotive as a teenager. The shop foreman put his arm around me on the first day, and he said, "Vinny, as you go through life, remember this. May the job be big or small, do it right, or not at all." And I think there's a lot of validity in that statement. So that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do a pretty good job or not do it at all. Dr. Shealy, I want to share something with you. It's kind of alarming to me. It's something that I noticed, and I've connected a couple of the dots. So last week, I was walking down a sidewalk in Springfield, Missouri. I had a dental appointment, and actually our whole family did. And so my wife and my mom and I were walking down the sidewalk while we were waiting for our son's appointment to finish up. And we were in like a mall. It was actually opposite of a restaurant where we used to have our meetups. And they have a big supermarket there, and there's some small shops. There's a place that cuts hair. There's a pizza shop, and there's a Chinese restaurant right next to the pizza shop. And the sidewalk was, white concrete. And here's what I noticed. I noticed that the doorway where you'd go into the pizza shop and the Chinese restaurant were close to each other. And I noticed that there was black, greasy, oily dirt on the first few steps coming out of the Chinese restaurant and the pizza restaurant. And I thought about that, and I thought, it's not coming out of the hair place. It's not coming out of the other shops. It's not coming out of the supermarket. It's only coming out of these two places. And I thought, what is it about them? And I thought, okay, there's oil in the food that they use, and maybe from the kitchen, oil gets on the floor. But why is it black? I mean, it was dark black. And then I connected another dot. I was working on a refrigerator freezer in the Northeast. And I was vacuuming out the refrigeration coils, and they were the same color black. And this was in a city as well. And a sprawling city. And then over the weekend, I was teaching an automotive shop class here at the farm, a very small class. And I was explaining let's look at the front wheels. The car was on the lift. I said, let's look at the front wheels. You notice how they're black? Both the passenger side and the driver's side are black. You look at the rear wheels, they're not black. And the wheels were silver, but had this black dust on them. The same color black dust as that I saw in the refrigeration coils in the Northeast, and the same color black that I saw at these two restaurants in Springfield, Missouri. And then I realized this is what it is. It is the brake dust that's airborne, that is these microscopic particles that have landed, and they're oily and they're sticky. And I guess the additional oil from these two restaurants allowed this to be deposited and was adhering to the concrete. So the question is, what is in brake dust? Well, some toxic particles. And I'm wondering, what do we do to get this out of our lungs? We'll be right back. Class, this is, to me, this is a pretty serious topic, and that's why I'm asking Dr. Norman Shealy about this. Dr. Shealy, here's a little bit more information to help you with understand this problem. There's an article on aa1car.com. It goes on to say, though asbestos linings were once used on virtually all vehicles, the arrival of front-wheel drive in the 1980s required semi-metallic front disc brakes that could withstand higher operating temperatures. But the vehicle manufacturers continued to use asbestos linings in their rear brakes as well as the front brakes on most rear-wheel drive cars and trucks. Why? Because asbestos was and still is an excellent fiber for brake linings. It offers good strength, temperature, and chemical resistance. It's cheap compared to other materials that are used for the same purpose. But the physical properties that make asbestos such a good fiber also make it a hazardous substance. Asbestos fibers are long, thin, and extremely small. Exposed fibers easily shred into thin needle-like strands that can drift into the air and be inhaled. The size of these fibers are such that they cannot easily be filtered out by the mucous linings in the nose and the lungs. Hence, the fibers lodge deep in the lungs, where their sharp needle-like presence becomes a source of constant irritation. To make matters worse, the human body cannot rid itself of these fibers because they are impervious to biochemical assault. So over time, exposure to asbestos dust may result in lung disease or cancer. That being said, Dr. Shealy, it sounds like it's difficult to fight off this assault. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, with everything, to me, the bottom line is always to keep your immune system as strong as it can. In other words, your reaction to foreign materials is, to a greater or less extent, the amount of it or the quantity of it is related to how strong your immune system is. So some people who have a very weak immune system respond to almost anything, and others, those who don't have a strong one, respond to everything, and those who have a strong one, get by much better. The keys to a strong immune system are happiness, number one, vitamin D3, number two, vitamin K2, number three, astaxanthin, number four, vitamin E, number five, and vitamin C, number six. In general, those things optimize the ability of the immune system to prevent inflammation and irritation.
When I worked at Sears Automotive as a teenager, I was at one end of the shop, and the brake service was at the other end of the shop. And normally in the summers, the doors, the overhead doors were open and ventilation was really good. But the guy who was the brake guy, he would always do the same thing. He would take off the wheels and tires, pull off the brake drums, take the air hose, and spray clean, the backing plates where the brake shoes were attached. So this guy was covered in brake dust, which was asbestos. The guys working on the automotive like the exhaust systems. They would use an air chisel, and they'd hammer away with the air chisel, and there'd be all kinds of exhaust dust coming out of the muffler and the tailpipes and the exhaust pipes and the connecting pipes and so forth. So what I'm trying to illuminate is that there are hazards where we may work. And then if you go to more of an office environment, I remember working in a school system where one of the employees would open up a computer and there'd be dust on one of the circuit boards. The circuit board would be pulled out, and the employee would blow, air with from the mouth, dust off these circuit boards. I'm thinking, why would anyone want to do that? There are vacuums, or this can be done outside with a respirator on and a compressed air stream coming out of a compressor. Why breathe all this inside? So when we come back, Dr. Shealy, can you share with us some of your thoughts about avoiding some of these workplace hazards that we don't even think are hazards? Dr. Noam Shealy is with us. I'm Ben Finelli. This is USAPrepares.com. We'll be right back. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Dr. Norman Shealy is with us. And during the end of hour number 1, I was talking about this black dust that I've seen. I've seen it in the Northeast. I've seen it in Springfield, Missouri. And I've seen it on the front wheels of just about any vehicle that's riding around town. And I was mentioning that we were working on a vehicle in our shop. I was doing a training class over last weekend, and there was black dust on the front wheels. And class, go look at yours. Go look at your front wheels on your vehicle, and you'll see that they're probably black compared to the rear wheels. And that's because about 60% of the braking force is done on the front wheels. So here's this article that I've been reading. Here's a little bit more about it. AA1car.com. It says back in the early 1980s, health-conscious Scandinavians were the first to ban asbestos-containing products, including brake linings, clutch linings, and engine gaskets. This led to the introduction of non-asbestos substitutes. In January 1986, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency proposed a ban on the production of nearly all products containing asbestos in this country. So, class, you may remember that. And the rules also banned imported products containing asbestos and would be a total ban by 1996. So for a while, it seemed that asbestos was headed toward extinction. Friction material and gasket suppliers worked hard to develop non-asbestos substitutes and gradually made the transition to these new materials. Nobody wanted the liability associated with asbestos, but the EPA proposed ban was eventually overturned in the courts. So, but still, asbestos is still with us. So U.S. automakers say they no longer use brake linings or clutch linings that contain any asbestos, but it's not true for many aftermarket suppliers of replacement brake pads and shoes and clutch linings. So they still contain asbestos in the aftermarket. Now, what do brake linings include? Well, there are a number of hazardous materials, including, of course, asbestos, copper, cadmium, lead, and mercury in brake linings. Now, what happens is every time you step on the brake, these particles become airborne. And that is the concern. And I believe, and I can't prove this, but I believe that is what I'm seeing in the dust, this black dust in the air in cities. So do you see that, or is it just me? So the question I have for Dr. Shealy, and this is an impossible question, and this is, I guess the question is this. So if you're in a work environment, how do you get the courage or to speak up and say, you know what, don't blow that dust into the air? Tell you what, if you're going to vacuum the carpets, do you have to do it during work hours? How about doing it when nobody's here? Because vacuuming is just dust relocation. Just spreads it around in smaller particles. Dr. Shealy, do you have any comments or thoughts about this? Because I'm very concerned about it, but I don't know what to do about it.
Well, I don't think anybody knows what to do about it. Obviously, to protect yourself, you could wear some kind of gas mask. A regular, just a surgical mask would not do it, of course. But, there are probably half a dozen or more people working in that environment, and even the one doing the vacuuming wore a gas mask, the rest are going to get it. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, it used to be thought that COPD, severe lung rot, if you will, it was due primarily to chronic smoking. But I have seen a number of people in the last couple of decades who have that kind of scarring of the lungs, not from smoking, but from just living. And who knows whether they have been exposed to more of that kind of, today,
I know that
we might call normal pollution.
I know that back in the 1970s, my mom worked at a college, and everybody in the area where my mom worked, it was an office environment, smoked except my mom, and it was terrible because she was breathing secondhand smoke from 5 or 6 other people smoking at their desk. Ultimately, that smoking in the office was banned, and it was great. That was a great move forward, because smokers would the offensive smoke, not only the smell of it, but the toxins, they were just spewing them out because they thought they had a right to smoke. Now that they smoke outside, I think that's better for most people. But do you have a thought on how you can gain the courage to go up to whomever is causing these environmental hazards where a person works, to stop? Do you have any thought on just, I know for you and I, we just go up and say, hey, you know what? Here's what you're doing. Here's why it doesn't make any sense. And here's why it's harmful to you and everyone around you. Is there a way to gain the courage to do that, Dr. Shealy?
Courage is an inside job, just as happiness is an inside job.
Yeah.
If you're not born a Sagittarian, who tends to be blunt like me, it does take a little intestinal fortitude, shall we say, to speak up in situations like that. And I just remind you that for many, many, many decades, smoking was allowed on airplanes.
Yes, it was.
And, there were smoking areas and not smoking areas. If that made any difference whatsoever, since now smoke is also on a tin can. But, I used to really despise traveling on an airplane because of the horrible smoke.
Right. And smoking was allowed in broadcast studios until they figured it out that it was messing up the microphones. Like, can't do that. Can't have this tar and nicotine.
Forget about your lungs. It's the microphones.
Right. I'm looking at the microphone that I'm using right now. It's a couple $100, and it's not the best. It's an Electro Voice, but it's a nice one. And I even have a foam cover over the active parts of the microphone to keep the dust off it, extra dust off it. But I've looked at microphones that were used in studios, and they had this brownish tan film of nicotine and tar on them. For the ones that were used in broadcast studios of days gone by. So just come out and say, is that the plan? Just get that internal
you realize
strength.
That you not only are spreading that crap to everybody else, but you're breathing it yourself. How about that?
Right. There you go. So class, why don't you just, if you see this, Janet Reno said, if you see something, say something. Okay. So take it into your own hands. Don't start a fight, but I think it would be to your benefit to stop the toxins from being spread where you are. As a matter of fact, one of our family members was in the hospital over about 30 years ago, and they had the cleaning people come in, and they were spraying the windows and cleaning the glass. And I said, "Whoa! You can't do that now." We've got a patient in here who's not well, and the last thing we need is that spray being sprayed out of that spray bottle you have. It's choking me. It's obviously not good for anybody, including you, so can't do it here. So I told an employee of the hospital not to spray the cleaner in the room, and you know what? She said, okay, I got it. I won't do it, and left. So you can do that, class. Kyle in Montana, welcome. You're on with Dr. Norm Shealy.
Yeah, I know you're fixing to come up on a break, Vince, but I got a question. Dr. Shealy, I ran into an older guy. He's older than me anyway, pushing...
My God, 70. Anybody older than you, Kyle?
Yeah, right, 72. Well, I'm 60, but anyway, he's pushing 72, and he has some... I hadn't seen him in a long time, but he has some prostate issues, and he has got on the internet continuously, but he can't even hardly take a leak. But he's went on the internet and ordered all kinds of different herbal supplements and everything that he can get his hands on, and he doesn't seem to be able to get any relief from this. And I was wondering if, because I don't have internet, I can't, this is why I call you a lot of times on the air, but I was wondering if you'd heard or you know of anything, because he's tried vitamins and he's tried, literally, I can't believe how much stuff he had in his cupboard. Saw palmetto, the saw palmetto oil, you name it, and he's tried it almost. And they're telling him that the only relief for him is to remove it.
Well, actually, they're wrong. There is, the last thing I would try, since he tried everything else, is natural progesterone cream. And I would get the full strength, regular, EU gesterone cream, and apply one pump of that, comes out about an inch long, and apply that to the skin. And if it doesn't make a big difference in 10 or 12 days, what he needs is not the so-called TUR, the horrible old procedure that has been used for 60 years, but green laser. Only a very small percentage of urologists use green laser because must pay less than doing the old TUR because it's so much better. And it takes about an hour and maximum in the hospital, and you're out a few hours later.
Does the green laser, you're talking about to remove his prostate?
Well, it's not removing it, it actually dissolves it. It vaporizes right in the center, so you're not removing it. It just removes or destroys a big hunk of it and lets you urinate better.
Kyle, did you want to hold?
Yeah, I do, please, Ben.
Okay, great. We'll be right back. Class, Dr. Norman Shealy's with us, and if you'd like to spend some time with him tonight, Springfield, Missouri, at the Doubletree Hotel in Springfield from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., and there'll be some time after the presentation to ask your questions. Absolutely free. That's at the Doubletree Hotel tonight in Springfield, Missouri. If you'd like to call us, 866-582-9933. And Kyle, please continue. Kyle, are you there?
I guess he lost his phone connection.
Yeah, I can see him. Well, I can see he's on the call screen. Kyle, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Ah, good.
Great.
Go
Okay.
for it.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep. Please
Okay,
continue.
good. Oh yeah. Okay. So one of the people of these herbal supplement people that this guy talked to told him that if this particular product that he had didn't work, that the chances are that his prostate would not shrink at all. So what I wanted to ask you, Dr. Shealy, is that is there something that you have seen that that is probably, other than the progesterone cream, that as an herbal supplement that really does, that you've actually seen it in your practice work?
Well, yeah, the saw palmetto and pygeum and zinc do work to many people. Those are the best. Saw palmetto's major content is beta-sitosterol. It's an extract of certain herbs or plants, but it doesn't work for everybody. And the only other thing I know would be natural progesterone, and to me, I would try it. But if that didn't work, I would definitely go for green laser, and I would travel out of the state if necessary to get green laser rather than to have the usual roto-rooter procedure.
Okay. All right. Well, that's just what I was curious about. And you said, because I did not notice that he had pygeum in there because he was showing me this stuff, but he did. Would you suggest the saw palmetto oil, or would you suggest the saw palmetto, the herbal, just the powdered, capsulated stuff?
Oh, the capsules are the best way to take it usually.
Okay. And you're talking about the whole plant rather than just the oil?
Well, the 160 milligram double-strength extract is what I have recommended for many decades.
Okay. Would you repeat that one more time, you said?
The saw palmetto, quote, a double-strength extract, 160 milligrams, 3 a day.
Okay. 160 milligrams 3 times a day. Okay, double strength. Okay, well, I'll relay this message. Of course, everybody I know is getting older and older, and it seems like that is a constant problem. And you're a wealth of information, and thank you for being on the air. I appreciate all that you do. And you too, Vince. You're a great guy.
Hey, thank you, Kyle.
Well, thanks very much, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle.
All right. Yeah.
Dr. Shealy, I'm looking at this post on the internet, and it's a Daily Mail. And this toddler was given steroid creams for eczema.
Wow.
But her eczema worsened. Yeah, and so she started using them on her entire body. And when her skin wasn't recovering, she decided to stop using the cream. Now, she had been using steroid creams for 30 years. And when she stopped using them, that's when her skin started to clear up. But she as a result, by it looks like stopping the steroid creams, she started to swell up, and she really looked sick. But ultimately, she was able to get off the steroid creams. Is Dr. Shealy? I guess the question here is: steroid creams, are they addictive? As this post suggests, are they addictive, and how dangerous are they?
Well, they're not psychologically or emotionally addicting, but they change your physiology. They literally screw up your adrenal gland. And steroid supplementation is a serious therapy. Now, there are a few serious diseases where you can save somebody's life using oral or injectable cortisone-like preparation. But
please hold that thought. We'll be right back. Dr. Shealy is with us, and class, I just posted that article about this woman who had this extreme case of eczema, and she used steroid creams and took them internally as well, and her skin became as red as a lobster, and she couldn't. Clothes were hard for her to wear, and it was just an absolute nightmare for her. And after she got off these creams, there's the picture of her, and she's a pretty gal, except for her tattoo. She looks normal again. So, Dr. Shealy, about these steroids, what do we need to know about steroids? And
unless you have a serious collagen disease like advanced lupus and things like that, avoid steroids like the plague that they are.
Okay, so that's creams, injectables, orals, all that?
Yeah, all forms of it.
Okay. Dr. Shealy, I am delighted to talk about this next post I see at Daily Mail. And it's something that you have been recommending over and over and over and over. And it seems like mainstream has finally figured out that you're right. And it says why you should take vitamin D as you get older. High doses reduce the risk of respiratory illness by 40%. It goes on to say it's believed that the nutrient works by reinforcing the first line of defense. Experts say the findings show potentially life-saving discovery. Acute respiratory illnesses are much more deadly among older people. So it talks about pneumonia, bronchitis, influenza, and have higher death rates among older people because of their weakened immune system. But vitamin D is a way of making sure your immune system is the best it can be, along with other supplements. So there you are, Dr. Shealy. The mainstream is now agreeing with you. It's wonderful.
Well, it's sometimes takes a few decades for but remember, you're lucky to get anything correct out of the media. I consider, in general, the mainline media to be the voice of the evil empire.
Yeah. And let's see. There's another post talking about dementia, and it says that it is now the leading cause of death. I'm not sure that that's correct, but it must be a considerably significant cause of death, dementia. And there are a lot of problems with dementia, Dr. Shealy. I've seen an Alzheimer patient that I've known for years, and over time she forgot things. She forgot how to get dressed. She forgot how to use the restroom, and ultimately she forgot how to chew. It's a pretty debilitating illness. What would you like to contribute about dementia, Dr. Shealy, and ultimately Alzheimer's?
Well, the best way to avoid degenerative brain disease, which is what Alzheimer's really is, in my opinion, to stay very active physically and mentally and take adequate nutrients. Now, what are adequate nutrients? In today's world, where we have so much pollution, a few tire things are minor compared to the 550,000 toxic chemicals released into the atmosphere every year. Mm-hmm. I think everybody should be on a minimum of 25 milligrams a day of B complex. They should be on, ideally, anywhere from 50,000 units of vitamin D3 every 10 days to every 7 days, depending upon their weight. They should be on a minimum of 100 micrograms, and if they have any problem, 15 milligrams of vitamin K2. They should be on 100 milligrams of vitamin E as tocotrienols in Kyani Sunset. They should be on 4 of my youth formula, and they should be on a minimum of 10 milligrams of astaxanthin a day. That, to me, is the minimum, the very minimum of supplements just to maintain optimal health because of the poisoned atmosphere.
And I do all of those things. Our family does all of those things that you've just recommended. And I think our health would not be as good as it is if we didn't. Dr. Shealy, we've got some callers on the call screen. Mike in Tennessee, welcome.
Greetings, gentlemen. Dr. Shealy, have you ever been an aviation medical examiner or done the flight physicals?
No, I have. I think you have to be certified in some particular way. And I've never done that.
Okay, I know a guy that recently went in to get one of those, and it'd been a while since he'd had one. And now they have them go online to fill out a questionnaire before they ever are seen by the doctor. It used to be just go in there and they would check your eyesight, your hearing, and your recollection of things just to make sure that you have the capacity to fly a plane. Very basic,
Right.
in and out in 15 minutes. No big deal. But now they ask just a ton of questions, and one of the things is in the information I was told is that you had to declare that you were a citizen, whether it be USA or you had to be a citizen of some country. In other words, they wanted you to be subject to somebody. And but apparently this wise individual actually took the time to read all the options and found that there was one option called unknown. So he became a citizen of unknown.
Isn't government wonderful?
Yeah, and proceeded on through the process, as it were. But it was just amazing what he had to go through, and though he had gone online and reviewed all of the regulations and everything that the doctor was required to do, and he actually passed the physical part with no problems, the doctor didn't approve it, but yet deferred it to the FAA because the fellow had a previous conviction. And in the regulations, it says the only way that a doctor can not issue the license is if there is, in fact, a conviction for something to do with flying, and or if you have a drug or alcohol problem. But yet this doctor took it upon himself to step outside the regulations and defer this individual's flight certificate so he is not able to fly according to that. But what was interesting is what he told me is at the very beginning of all this, it said that this application is, and it had three options: by right, by privilege, or by benefit. So basically he notified the FAA in Oklahoma that he did this by right, and they told him that, okay, we'll just go ahead and send you the medical certificate then. So he bypassed the whole mess by just declaring it was by right and not by privilege or benefit. Interesting.
And many roads to Rome. I don't know that one.
Mike, can this person who wants to fly declare a right to fly the same way?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's all a matter of rights, benefits, or privileges, and you just have to assert which one you're operating under.
Very good. Very good. Mike, thanks for your call. I've got more calls on the line. Anything else that you'd like to add? No. That was just something that was interesting from a medical perspective. I thought I'd check and see if you had that background. But thank you, and y'all have a great day.
Hey.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike. That's Mike Parsons in Tennessee. We've got Bob in Michigan. Welcome, Bob.
Yeah, hi. Just wanted to comment something about the steroid creams. I wonder, has the doctor heard of another cream, more or less? It's called acid mantle cream.
I don't know that one.
Okay, I found out a long time ago about. I think it's basically what they use as a base for the steroid creams, and what it does is called acid mantle cream. It just restores your natural pH to the skin. So I've used it myself because I've had a chronic problem with eczema all my life, basically. Now, I was going to ask, my eczema started when I was a very young child, and I am suspicious that it may have been caused by a vaccination, maybe a polio vaccination. This was would have been back in the late 40s or the early 50s. I wonder if the doctor is aware of eczema being a reaction to some of those older, the vaccines of that era.
I am not aware of that. On the other hand, we know that vaccines significantly affect the immune system, and eczema is definitely an abnormality of the immune system. By the way, I've easily found acid mantle cream on the internet.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out if they'll tell me what's in it. It's got in it, well, there are all kinds of different ones. So far, okay, here it is. They have aluminum in them, which I don't like. That's the only thing I've found so far that is part of it, but I definitely wouldn't want to put anything in it with aluminum. It says it's an aqueous solution of aluminum acetate. Is available in the United States as over-the-counter, many different brand names. It has astringent, and the astringent would be the aluminum. You know, aluminum is quite an astringent on the skin, and antibacterial properties. So, although it might be beneficial for the skin, I don't think it'd be good for the brain.
Yeah, I've found it gives you relief from dry skin.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any of the steroids in it.
No, I see it doesn't, but it does have aluminum, which we know is toxic to the brain. So I can't recommend it.
Bob, thanks for your call. Oh, you want to hold? You want to hold through the break?
Yeah.
Okay. Norman Shealy's with us, and if you'd like to spend some time with him tonight, Springfield, Missouri, he's going to be at the Doubletree from 6 to 7 p.m. He'll be presenting information that you probably should pay attention to. So if you're in town, 6 to 7 tonight, Springfield, Missouri. Bob in Michigan. Oh, that's at the Doubletree Hotel, Springfield. Bob in Michigan, please continue. You had some questions for Dr. Shealy?
Well, if he had any recommendation for clearing eczema or treating it besides creams or...
Yes, at the top of my list are vitamin D3. If you're not, how much do you weigh?
170.
Then you need to be taking 50,000 units of vitamin D3 once a week. If you're not taking that, that would definitely be at the top of my list. Secondly, I would take 15 milligrams, 15 milligrams of vitamin K2, and I would take 30 milligrams of astaxanthin, the strongest form of vitamin A. That combination is sort of the strongest foundation for in strengthening the immune system, and in general does more than anything else that I know.
Okay.
Anything else, Bob?
The only thing, I was just reading through the article about this woman. The only thing it lacks, it doesn't say anything about how she cleared her skin. It says she stopped using the steroids, but then it doesn't say anything about if she used anything else to clear her skin.
Right. You're talking about the article on page 1 of USA Prepares. That's where the link is.
Yeah, I mean, if she just stopped using the creams, that's as if the cream was causing her the problem. But I assume
sure sounds like it. That's the way I read it.
Yeah, I wonder what else she did or didn't do to get her skin to be cleared. Oh well.
All right, Bob. Thanks for the call.
Okay.
Dr. Shealy, there's a post that I was reading about fatty foods attacking children's brains, paving the new way for depression, learning difficulties, and Alzheimer's. And it's saying that fast food depletes renin levels in teenagers. It means the brain moves slower, risking the risk of mental illness, and low renin levels, REELIN levels, are also a hallmark of higher Alzheimer's disease risk. And that's in the Daily Mail. Any thoughts on that, Dr. Shealy? I know you don't like fast food, that's for sure.
Well, I consider fast food pure junk slop. But other than that, I guess they have, we'd be better to compost them than to eat them.
There you go. Okay. Dr. Shealy, risk of transfusions. Are you concerned at all about, let's say, a family member needed to have surgery and they're thinking about transfusion. Any risks?
Well, there are risks. Let's face
You're
it.
concerned
Despite all the screening that is done, there's still things like viruses that are not caught that could cause hepatitis. On the other hand, it can be necessary to save your life during surgery. So I don't think you have a choice when you need a major surgical procedure. You don't want to wind up too deficient. Now, I have to say, way back in 1971, when I did something stupid and had a fractured hip, I asked not to have a transfusion, and my hemoglobin went down from like 15 or 16 to 8 point some odd. And it took me about 6 weeks to rebuild my hemoglobin, but I did okay without a transfusion.
Okay. Let's see. Dr. Shealy, daylight savings time is really messing me up. You know, you taught me that I can have an internal clock, and I can know what time it is, and I can get up without an alarm clock. And I absolutely could until daylight savings time. I knew what time it was within a couple minutes, any time during the day or night, even when I was asleep. I knew what time it was. Do you think that daylight savings time might be detrimental to us?
I think it's another stupid. It's not as bad as nuclear energy, but it's stupid.
Well, to me, it has really messed up my clock because at 6 o'clock at night, it's now dark, and I really want to get some more work done here at the farm, and I can't because it's dark because they changed the clocks on us. And 6 o'clock at night now feels like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I don't like it.
Well, I start on the morning in which it's going to change. I set my clock ahead that first morning.